In this episode, we're talking about our review of 2020 as short term rental host.
Vacation Rental Machine helps hosts just like you learn how to start, grow, and scale your short-term rental business. This show is all about creating systems that help you automate your business, giving you more time and money freedom. If you're ready to start living the vacation rental life, then subscribe to this podcast today. Come and join us on our Facebook group, The Host Nation, where we'll be talking about starting, automating, and scaling a short-term rental business. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back, Host Nation. I am John Bell, and I am here with Julian Sage. And yes, 2020 has been a year, and we're just wrapping up this year and looking for the excitement that is possibly coming next year, hopefully as soon as things turn January 1. Julian, this has been really a hell of a year. What have you personally experienced just with your short-term rental business and overall bookings and guest satisfaction, just everything that just surrounded 2020?
So 2020 was a really interesting year. Being educators in the space and helping other hosts, we saw definitely a big influx towards the towards the end of this past year. There was a lot more interest in the short-term rental space, almost kind of like it was a bubble. There was this large insurgence of new people, new hosts that were interested in getting into the space. That started around the January 2020 timeframe. Come March, though, when we started seeing a lot of the fear and a lot of COVID-19 happening, we did start to see some different types of impact to that. So, as podcast hosts, we definitely saw our listenership, our viewership nearly cut in half just when that happened. So, as looking at the market and seeing kind of, how to gauge it, I would say that there was definitely a lot of interest. There was definitely a lot of peak, which, helped our podcast, rank up to the top of iTunes. But then March happens. There's a lot of fear. People stopped showing as much interest into the short-term rental space. Now that's just more from looking at the market and how it's been affected. Definitely towards the end, we've definitely seen more of an incline from March to now. We've reached about to where our peaks were back beginning of 2020, and a little bit further than that. But that's been a very slow and steady growth over the past year. As far as a business and how that's been operating, beginning of 2020, there was definitely a lot more interest. There was a lot more bookings. Things were looking really, really positive. Come March, that's when we definitely saw a big impact. And I would say the first 2 months were very, very stressful. If you go back and watch some of the episodes from the show on YouTube, like you'll see some bags underneath John and I's eyes. Definitely a lot of stress. I think John got quite a few more gray hairs during that time, including myself. Because this was just very uncertain. All the reservations were getting canceled. It was very stressful, and there was a lot less interest in the short-term rental space for, I would probably say, around 2-3 months. After those 2-3 months, though, personally, our business, our management company, we started seeing a lot more interest in getting into the space. We saw a lot of the people that were interested in starting in 2021. Maybe they were interested in investing into the space or getting started. These people, by the middle of 2020, were now looking to actually start, partnering with other operators such as ourselves to be able to get themselves into the short-term rental market. Of course, there was a lot of still uncertainty during that time. But there was definitely an interest of still, I believe in the short-term rental market. I want to be able to invest in it, but I'm maybe a little bit too afraid to do this myself. So how can I partner with a professional operator that has a bit more experience to help me get my foot in the door? John, what were some of your thoughts and feedback from 2020?
Well, it started on a high horse, right? I mean, I was expecting this year to be a breakout year where I was going to definitely bring in over $1 million in just revenue and was just going to be able to build one, maybe 2x the units that I had initially. And come March, literally, I mean, that future became very, very grim. I mean, I never thought I would have the feeling towards the sound of that chime that Airbnb has, where I would associate that with a negative thing. And right around that March timeframe, when things started to really shut down, that chime didn't mean the same thing anymore. It meant that there was another cancellation. And we're talking about one of the first times that on my calendar, almost all my units were booked out months in advance. To see that all evaporate was something that you just, I couldn't put words to it. Even now, it just was devastating. To then kind of go through that and then have to really talk about it. And we're still podcasting, we're still actively going through it with you guys, and then stumbling upon ways to pivot and to really get people back in the door and to build some more excitement just within ourselves to really feel confident enough to kind of just go ahead and say, hey, you know what? We found a level where we're good. We're not making as much money per door, but we're still making money. At the same time, we can take this and grow it somewhere else and position ourselves better for when things return. And there's been a few of you guys that actually have done the exact same thing. I believe kind of right around that June timeframe, there were a few people that were actively going out and picking up places from hosts that didn't want to operate anymore, and they just kind of grabbed those units really cheap. And that was the stuff that I'd like to see, just from people taking advantage of an opportunity that was created. I mean, we all seen it with the housing market during the last crash, where hey, it crashed, then people were buying up all these places really cheap and they were just waiting for things to kind of go back up. Well, this was almost the exact same thing, but specific to short-term rentals. The market didn't necessarily crash, but as an avid traveler myself, I mean, we went from airports just being jam packed, right? To literally, I mean, there might be 10 people in front of me at the airport. That was devastating to kind of know, hey, I have a business that somewhat is based upon travel. And yet I don't see, anybody at the airport. But then as I continue to travel, of course, I'm traveling during COVID and I see people kind of getting back out there. I see regulations kind of just changing. And that was able to boost. And when we picked up our properties in Miami, Miami was almost in flux at the same time that we got started. They had shut everything down, no short-term rentals. And that was something kind of hard to look at in the beginning. Like, hey, we're opening places and we can't operate. But we get to now where we're fully able to operate. We see a vaccine on site. I didn't hit my number. And before this year, like I said, I wanted to do over $1 million, $1.3 million in just revenue on my personal portfolio. And I didn't hit that. I'm down roughly about 20%, about 18% or so. But that still has profit for me. I still am living off of this business. And it's something that I am so happy that 2021 is coming, and just the outlook of things and kind of how things have kind of shaped. I'm not too sure if anybody else felt like this year moved pretty quickly, although I was mostly sitting at home amongst everyone else. This did move quickly. The outlook for 2021 looks great, and I'm super excited to be positioned where I am right now, ready for 2021 and the takeoff and things that are bound to happen, just because we're going to kind of get back to the liberties and things that we're used to.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that were interested in getting into the space in 2020, there was either the people that saw everything that was happening and then got scared off, versus the people that went through the trough and then made it to the other end. Definitely, there nobody came out of this without some bruises and scars on themselves. But I think that it's just a testament to show that, if you were not sitting by during the sidelines and you are actively going out there, I know lots of people that actually were able to start and grow their businesses, but they did have to pivot, whether that was maybe reducing your master lease count and taking on more management clients, whether that was, refinancing your properties or getting in, more medium term tenants, people that were staying for longer periods of time. As long as you were still actively in the space and doing something, maybe you just realized during this time, like, hey, short term rentals are great when it's good, but I don't want to have to deal with it when it gets bad. That was a reality for a lot of other people also, switching over their portfolio to strictly long-term tenants. But I think right now, and especially the way that we've always been looking and what we always kind of talk on this channel, is that the long-term play of short-term rentals is there, which is why, we didn't just pick up and move our business. We definitely tried to pivot our business as well to be able to, still remain active, definitely, taking into consideration, the rate of growth and scale that we did anticipate, but still being out there, still doing something, because we do see the long-term future of short-term rentals. So question today, what has been your experience with 2020? Did you start hosting or did you hold off on the sidelines? Which is totally okay if you did that, but just want to know, where were you during 2020 for short-term rentals? When did you come in? Did you step out? What has been your experience with 2020? Leave it in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button, smash that like button. Let John and I know that you like us, because, I don't tell John enough that I like him, but we need you guys to smash the like button so John feels that he is getting some approval from you guys. So definitely talk to you all in the next episode, and keep on hosting. If you'd like John and I to answer your guys' questions, then be sure to go to the Host Nation Facebook group and use hashtag AskVRM. Hope you hosts found value in this episode. If you did, please go on over to iTunes and leave us a review, as that would greatly support the show. If you'd like to connect with John, the community, and I, then go on over to our Facebook group, the Host Nation. Talk to you hosts in the next episode. Keep on hosting.